Hello and welcome to another coaching video, and in this one we have a Platinum Udyr versus a Platinum Kha'Zix. And obviously for this one, normally we have pretty relaxed early beginnings here, first 4 clears, we don't like too much coin flipping, but sometimes I do enjoy taking the other perspective from previous sessions. So what we've looked at quite a lot, from the red team's perspective especially, is they'll get leashed on this top side, they'll do their regular stuff, this guy gets leased here, and in your bottom lane face checks this brush instead of going the long way around, and now you're the Udyr finishing the red, and you have no choice but to rotate, right, and pick this up. Kha'Zix will be reading this, we'll address it in a second. Here we go, we do have Q plus R, which means we should be able to pick up a double kill here. Nice stun, thank you Leona so much. Brom is here to die. Maybe. Also flash, there we go. Kha'Zix in the meantime is up here. Now this is where you get a lot of pings from your team, right? Go vertical jungle. Yeah, but you know, is that really what I want to be doing? Now obviously should it be taking this long to clear? No. But the Udyr knows this is exactly what the Kha'Zix will be thinking about doing. So this opens up your game quite a lot. Now, it also doesn't mean you guaranteed win the game, right? When you get these double kills, because most likely, as I just said, it compromises your ability to actually get the tempo you want. Because what does Udyr do very, very well? 4 clears. What does he do very, very well? Scale, split push, pressurize with experience and gold income, and the Kha'Zix is definitely going to go to this. So, from the Udyr's perspective, and I kind of like what he's doing here, at the same time, I also don't, you know, do we flex into his blue buff side? Do we decide, hey, maybe we should go counter jungling, right? Obviously, he's going to be taking ours, that's what we would expect, except when it's not a Kha'Zix, when it's a Fiddle, Karthus, Hecarim, they shouldn't be doing this. They should keep on farming this right up, knowing that the bottom lane on the blue side has used sums. This means that while Udyr is falling back to his clear, taking a long time getting that full clear done, you, as whatever jungler you might be, can always cut in and actually snowball this lane back in your direction, especially if the Udyr is the one with a double kill. You understand? So the Kha'Zix goes for the vertical jungling. The Udyr here should know that this is most likely what he's going to be doing. Now, the Kha'Zix, what I'm happy that he did do, and this is what I've done in these situations, is I like to go red Krugs, blue Grump to take that away, and I'll just base right here, right? 100% I'll base right here. Now, the Udyr is showing us why Platinum is Platinum, right? And why I have the jungle memberships. And as always, please consider having a look at my jungle courses on my website, as well as joining us in the private jungle Discord to have access not only to the free jungle improvement PDF, but also weekly coaching classes, lectures, Q&As, and so much more, in addition to all of the jungle video courses included with it. The absolute jungle paradise for all junglers is Virkayu.gg. Because he didn't even think that Kha'Zix would do this, and so he's gone straight back to base to buy himself a control ward? No. Boots and 2 longswords. Kha'Zix is getting himself out here a little bit precariously, but he is leaving. The Aatrox is going all in on the Scion, and now, you know, should be positioned okay as long as we ping it out, which we do from the Kha'Zix's perspective, because, hey, we saw the Udyr. The Udyr, this is where the difficulty comes in, if you're in his position. And we have covered games like this across the board on every single channel, where you'd have Nocturnes kind of rotate to this scenario, get the double kill, and just flex into this because he knows that he's being cowed in jungle, right? But the problem is, it always ends up being a mind game. And the thing is, about the Udyr, he knows that if Kha'Zix has actually gone back to base here, doesn't show up here at all, that he should have camps available to him. He also knows that 4 minute 20, those Krugs will respawn in theory, because there's no ways that Kha'Zix rotated from red straight to his blue Grump. There's no way in hell. The Kha'Zix, on the other hand, I like that we kind of just got in and get out. We didn't overgreed, we didn't try and do our Raptors first, we just got in and got out because we know we could make that play and we could get out. Is there a higher risk involved? Yes. But what it does allow you to do is actually still go to the bottom side here before you do your blue side quadrant. He didn't go to his bot lane first, he went to his blue side quadrant. The Udyr now is looking for this dive, which is, that's exactly what he's meant to do, right? And the thing is, you're looking at this now and you're thinking, but Virkayu, if I'm the Kha'Zix, what am I meant to do here, because the bottom lane are snowballing the lead that he got? What can I told you. Just don't compromise yourself with the vertical jungling. Let the guy take longer to full clear because he's not going to have spent that gold. Let him do his stuff. What you have now is a 20-second, 30-second advantage over him, right? He's going to keep doing this. You're going to do this. You can impact this. You can fall back to this. You can outbase and still contest This right here, will he have more gold than you? Yes. But your Kha'Zix, if you have futures market and things like that, you'll still get a serrated Dirk, right? Especially if you got a good success in bottom lane. If you have a good success in bottom lane with that gank, then hey, you actually might just be equal to the Udyr. And so what happens is you sequence down, you gank the guys, you take this, you go back to base, you go here. The Udyr does this, backs to base, goes topside here, takes all of this, takes this. Now you both all converge here. You can shut him down. And now because you sequence top to bottom, you can finish off these camps again and then go gank bot lane again before the Udyr is able to arrive. And while Udyr does this and Kha'Zix does this, you know, we could have ganked this lane first as you're watching this trade. I went back because I wanted to show you this trade here. Because in theory, the blue side bottom lane got that advantage, right? But at the same time, the ADC died. He got absolutely nothing. The Ashe actually has a little bit more cash money in pocket. And as Kha'Zix here, I'd want to kind of be here right now just to guarantee as Braum goes to ward, Leona goes in. That's expected, but there's a minion wave. Now Braum is actually hitting that Q onto the Ezreal. The Leona's taking all of that minion damage, everything that is possible. So what seemed like a good engage was not a good engage. If I'm the Kha'Zix, I want to be here, right? So what happens if the blue team's bottom lane, the Ezreal and the Leona actually just steamrolled them? What if they just killed the red team's bottom lane and Kha'Zix is here going, guys, I know you lost level 1 and Udyr killed you both, but come on. No, you actually have a really goated bot lane right now, absorbing Udyr's pressure and still winning that 2v2. Granted, it's a Leona mistake, but it is what it is. Now, we saw the Udyr here. We know he's going to go here and most likely take these things. If he shows here, doesn't show here, you know he's going to be on the bottom side. Ahri has shoved up and now obviously left the situation. Well, they're both dead. Cassio and Ahri are both dead. The point is, this Raptor invade right here, this is aggressive. Because you have no idea where the Udyr is exactly, but you know that he's most likely going to be sequencing this quadrant again. So why go for this? Now we're being caught out and the Udyr has gold advantage over us because he's backed twice, we've backed once, right? So you're seeing how all of this builds up. Now you might think, oh, but this is proactive. No, go watch the main channel video if you are confused about what those terms mean, because most people are using them completely incorrectly because one guy decided to invade Raptors stupidly. Like, no. This is a dumb invade of the Raptors. You don't need to do it. In fact, a lot of what we're doing, we don't need to do. So do keep those things in mind. Obviously, that is gone, Mr. Udyr. Now he can carry on going to the top side. But basically, Udyr reacts in a way that he should and gets a double kill forward. Now he knows he's behind on clear tempo to the Kha'Zix. If the Kha'Zix denies him and he doesn't make the right guess, he just loses out. But as we see with the Udyr here, he's only down 2 CS. He's actually gone back to base the same amount of times as the Kha'Zix, and now he's catching up. So it comes back later. The Kha'Zix basically had to decide, do I vertical jungle to deny or use my advantage to snowball a lane? He chose to deny, which is great. We talk about that a lot, especially in the previous video, right? However, we have to figure out a way to get involved. And the involved cannot be just counter jungling Raptors. Cassio hits 6. Ahri is not quite yet level 6 and she will die for it. Little fraction, both junglers are just farming topside. Like, Ezreal's chilling. Everyone's just fighting each other over here. We have the Aatrox obviously by himself at this stage. Kha'Zix is showing up here. Do you think he knows that the Udyr's sequencing up? He should. He doesn't. Look at this. This is the problem. This is the problem right here. He isn't tracking the Udyr enough. Beyond the first thing, which was like, oh, he's bottom lane. I better go steal Blue and Gromp and go back to base. That's it. That's it. No lane impact. Right? Greeting counter jungling. Like, why are you going down here? There's no ways that Udyr's still busy. Right? Kha'Zix will just E over the wall, obviously, but let's see what we can do here. Isolation damage is strong enough, so we do have serrated Dirk, but Udyr is pretty fisty himself. I like it. I like it. I like it. We did a good job and we trusted ourselves. We, you know, really clenched a little bit with our HP before we used our E, but... okay. Alright. It is what it is. So, what I'm seeing here is as soon as you add too many wrinkles to a platinum level game, you're watching how they actually have no idea how to read and adapt in real time, which is the skill challenge, right? That's what we're here to do, get better at that kind of stuff. But you know the Udyr starts here, goes down here, does all of this, shows up here, because you see him on the ward, so you know he's pathing bottom to top lane. You go over here, you know he's going to pull back and keep going, so you know he's going to be topside at this stage. Check the brushes, have a look to see what's going on. Sure, we got the kill here, but that's because Kha'Zix is strong. We have ourselves a serrated Dirk in pocket there, and we played it well, okay? We're not going to break down the minutiae of low elo mechanics that you can save for main channel Ultimate Champion guides where we can actually spend time doing that. But, you know, in those situations where you're the Kha'Zix and the Udyr, it comes down to, do you know if you can beat them one-on-one at this particular stage? And if you don't, I encourage you to do what the Udyr and the Kha'Zix did right here. Battle it out, a gladiator style, 1v1, Colosseum. See what happens. Now, Categorically, you don't always want to have to do that, because if you're definitely going to lose, you want to run away, right? But if you actually don't know, or you think it's close, I encourage you to test your mechanics a little bit with those scenarios. Now, Udyr obviously will go back down to the bottom side. That's where his camps are as he sequences up. The Kha'Zix here showing a little bit of fear, which isn't good for someone who mains Kha'Zix, because at this particular stage we have our red and everything up on the top side, so he's gonna like, oh, I'll go do the red, you're not get the Raptors, the Krugs are a little, you know, disparate in the spawn time, but Udyr should go down to the bottom side to take all of these, so why did I do the Herald? If he had made that proactive decision, again, the whole idea behind that is tempo control, right? Not aggression. Don't confuse aggression, which is high-risk plays, with having tempo control over the enemy jungler. Because what we could have done, right, out of base here is just said, hey, look, you know what? Why not just go for the Herald quickly and snack that up? Like, can I do that quickly? Well, Udyr most likely is on the bottom side. And as we look, yes, and you know that. From an elo perspective, the tendencies that you're facing, you know that they're going to go down to the red buff side. You know he's sequencing bottom to top. But our fear here, lack of commitment, is going to cause us to be in a rough situation. Because Udyr's like, well, that Herald's up. Sorry, the Dragon's available. My bot lane is losing. Maybe I can go and take a Herald myself. Wards it. Kha'Zix is now forced to withdraw. Now it's coin flipping the scenario. Why coin flip? Don't ever coin flip these things. Don't. You're wasting gold and experience per minute. That's what we need, gold and experience per minute, okay? And sometimes you might think, well, I could get 1,000 gold and experience from this play. You could. But you could also get 0. So why didn't you go get the guaranteed 500? Well, he thinks about those risk assessment calculations. You'll end up ahead, right? Think about that. No, off you go. Main channel video, guys. Same thing. Udyr kills an invading Karthus, goes red, Krugs, Raptors. He has lane prio here. Everyone thinks you're getting a free Herald. He says no, because the enemy Karthus is going to think I'm going to do Herald, so he's going to show up. And then the Pike mid will roam, and the GP will have ultimate. Too high risk. I'm just going to sequence all the way down, and then take all of his camps, and then kill the ADC. 3 quadrants for 1 quadrant, so that the Karthus could get the Herald, right? So in this particular case, they just coin flip each other out of, honestly, absolutely nothing. And the Kha'Zix just could have kept going the whole time. So, he either pulls the trigger and says, I'm going to take the Herald right now because Udyr should be on the bottom side doing his red. And of course, if he shows up randomly, unexpectedly, you go, woo, and then you jump over the wall. So, okay, cool. That means his bottom side is available. So you can afford to give it up and do what I just said, right? Quadrant, you don't even have to do your blue side. Like, if you go for this directly and Udyr shows up here instead of going to red, then you can just say, well, you know what? I'm going to leave, take all of this, cut down, take all of this, and gank bottom lane, and then take this, and then fall back to this, right? A lot of different combinations. That's why we have courses, to kind of break it down slowly and tell you how to think about each moment, but otherwise we'll be here for a couple hours if I do that right now. I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of that surface treatment, broad stroke pathing suggestions, because it's important to note that if you just pull the trigger on a cool play, on a good play that gives you an objective, I miss the ticks as well. I don't like the pets for that. I'm with you 100%, but still, like, come on, it's been a long time. Now it's warded. Now we could have done the dragon already. We could be shadowing this because we have done the dragon already. So the Kha'Zix, the way I would describe it is... That's all. Hey, she didn't get him though. Oh, okay. Oh. I'll put that on the thumbnail, right? Pull a weird, derpy face and look stupid, and there you go. Get to put it in your thumbnail. Yeah, well played by the Ahri, but don't results based it. Like, could we have done the dragon and been there ourselves? Yes. And now Ahri's going to shove this out, and if we had taken the Herald, hey, let's activate the Herald while I take all your shit and dive this Leona right over here, or this ADC over here. The Kha'Zix has had so many moments where he could absolutely destroy this Udyr no matter what happened at that level 1 moment. Careful your pathing here for the minions. Are we sneaky? Are we sneaky? Yes, we are. So we could have had a lot more control than we've had, I think, and that's definitely the kind of stuff you want to think about. And increasing the speed of your decision making is by acting on the decisions you have. Don't hedge on yourself sometimes, because I guarantee you the Kha'Zix was thinking, can I do the Herald? But where's Udyr? And because he wasn't tracking properly, he didn't have the confidence to just go for it. And if he was tracking the Udyr properly, he would have the confidence to just go for it. And again, if something random happens, you can react to it, and that means something else is available, always. And that's how you got to treat it. So, we're 1-0-0 out of 10 KP. Udyr's not activating this Herald here, and that's my problem. The Kha'Zix, while he has been serviceable, if he had sped up his decision-making, made the right cuts, and kept up that pressure that we've talked about, the denial from yesterday's video and so on, we'd have such a nice little game going. Really, we would. Meantime, our Udyr, who's technically mostly the protagonist here, from a kind of like, I don't know, are they both just protagonists together? Both kind of just mediocre stars of a mediocre budget movie? Like, I guess so. No one's really popping up. I mean, look at this. Like, you and I are seeing this on the minimap, and he's just like, grump, and then I'm going to walk around here, and then I finally see this, finally, after I've done the grump, and the Kha'Zix is just trailing around, and we've got Swifties and Sheen and Hothbound Axe, and that was a nice little Scion sec, I think, actually, but Aatrox is so giga strong and so giga fed. This is very much like the example I've spoken about recently that even I did myself, where I let, and it was in the coaching channel video recently as well, Rome from the Casio, where you get pinged up by your top laner, despite him being 2-3 levels down, and you're like, okay, it's pushed up, I can do something. It's like, only rotate if you know you could beat someone 2 levels ahead of you. And if you're the Udyr and the Kha'Zix here, can you? Can you really? Especially in Aatrox building like lethality like this? Probably not, right? So, again, your risk assessment. Less about, hey, can I go gank this random shit versus, hey, look, this is guaranteed experience. Can I make a nice, smooth play somewhere else? Which is what we've been talking about the whole video, right? Do your full clear, capitalize on the bottom lane, nice easy gank, no one else is there, go back to base. Can you influence top lane? No, okay, sequence again. Shadowing, can I do the Herald quickly? Yes. It really does open the map up quite a bit when you start to increase the speed with which you make these decisions. And again, it's okay to be wrong. There's no one way to jungle. There's no only way to jungle. There's no only one good decision in the moment. And that's why jungle's difficult, because recognizing which one suits your champion and the game state and the matchups and all this good stuff, that's part of the challenge, right? So now, Udyr is finally relaxed a little bit. He's going to do himself some red camps. We're level 8. Aatrox is level 11. You know, right now, you know Kha'Zix might be there when she walks into the shadows, so there's no real reason to be worrying about this. They shove it up a bit too much. We're tracking the roam time as Kha'Zix going to show up with everybody. That was not a good Brom Q. Miasma goes through. There we go. Oof, there's a lot of spells missing. 3 kills. Can't remember actually at all who wins this game, so that's good for us. Literally don't remember at all. Because all I do is I look at the match history, look at the KDAs, I'm like, maybe there's something interesting here, and I kind of choose based upon champions. But Udyr does rotate over and get himself a double kill, which I think is an important thing to note. Oh, well, on that end, not much you can do because your Ezreal sucks. And again, like, you helped him early, yes, with a rotation, but he got nothing. So you do have to factor in, could I not gank his lane? Like, instead of investing all this time up here a little bit, like, shit, he took my stuff. Take his Raptors, go back to base. Maybe he's going to gank my bottom lane now. Can I gank the bottom lane, counter gank it, and so on? So both jungles lacked a very direct bottom lane impact, I feel, and that's kind of just let a coin flip. And as we know with coin flip bottom lanes, it just keeps going on every game. My bottom lane is winning, my bottom lane is losing, now my bottom lane is winning, and repeat for all 1,000 years. Aatrox overcommits, and maybe we can go to a dragon here. Yes, we can. So, 3-2-2, catching up a little bit. Udyr now 5-4-0. It's looking like, from Udyr's perspective, with his side lanes, he's going to have to be a bit more split pushy, which means in this case, there's no real reason at all to be going down to this dragon. Like, we're cutting straight to this Herald, right? Like, if you kill the Aatrox, I'm straight to the Herald. And then when they take this, I'm straight into his jungle. And I'm shadowing this, we're activating, we're punching hardcore. We're watching the flanks and the draw, so we can pull back and not die. But because we do our camps first, instead of doing objectives and counter jungling first, we're in this position now where we just lose this stuff. And that's the problem, you see? Because first Herald being taken at 8 minutes gives you this one free. Now the Kha'Zix is able to use his numbers advantage and collect it himself. So, again, decision priorities, right? Speed it up. The Brom's actually playing solidly. Like, we've seen some funny stuff, but I think he's doing okay, right? But the red team are just goon squatting. So, that's fine by our standards. Udyr says, fine. Can we finally take this turret? Yes, but instead of going into, say, the Kha'Zix's jungle, knowing he's all topside, he just goes and does his own camps. Can we go now? Or do we just shadow and be passive? By passive, I mean taking zero risk at all, and you can't take zero risk at all when you're in a game that feels like this, right? You've got to be able to start to put some macro pressure down. That's the problem. Did I witness that correctly? We all saw that, right? We tried to flash stun an Ari. Yeah. And now you're saying, but Virkayu, I mean, the Kha'Zix kind of didn't do anything and his lanes are winning. You know, isn't that great? Yes, but he didn't really do much to deserve it. He could have really taken control of the game and eliminated all question, but he didn't. From Udyr's perspective, right, look how strong this guy is. You need to start to take macro control. I've been coaching a lot about this with the Trinity Force builds explicitly. You are not going to win this through team fights anymore, right? You need to do macro, all right? You need to look for those cuts and those shoves and those turret takes. And he's just not doing that at all. Like, he's farming his camps, right? Instead of, hey, this should already be down, now I'm pushing this. Like, let Cassio go mid. You want 1, 3, 1. You're the 1. Cassio's not splitting at all. She doesn't have TP. She needs to be with your team here. That's it. But let's see what happens. Red buff is spawning. Now we go invading. And here's the thing, right? We're running into their jungle to invade with no knowledge at all. No consideration of backtimers. We have 1800 gold in pocket. Don't invade when you have 1800 gold in pocket. RNG Scuttle. Cassio splitting on the bottom side. Here's Kha'Zix. Can we beat a 1v1? If we can, which we should be able to, let's go. Okay, pay attention to the rest of the team. You also have support from the Cassio. Excuse me there. Ooh, damage, damage. I have damage. And then he runs away. Don't overcommit. Braum showing up. We saw them in the mid lane. Instead, they do overcommit. Now what you should say, nope, bye, boom. Take stuff. Run in, take stuff, get out, or just run away. In this particular case, I'd grant you that. You know, normally, you would have the position here to really shove this up while they're busy doing this. And I feel like this game has become quite difficult to look at for us as well, because it's like he's always in a weird position where he's never able to capitalize on the pressure of the map, and that's largely because he hasn't been looking for it at all. Now, Aatrox's top side does have TP. At this particular stage, as I just said, I'm happy with you pushing something and falling back, or just falling back and taking everything and just ensuring you get the golden experience. Don't die with your team, right? However, we do see the Ezreal and the Sion. So, in this particular case, you got a backline Kha'Zix super duper low. Maybe we can do something, but we need to time our re-entry properly. See, now if we go back in, that's 100% a dead Ashe by our hands. We can definitely zone onto the Ahri. But the problem is, as you're looking at right now, and which is why I'm an advocate for the split push, TP from the Aatrox, which is why I mentioned it. Ezreal doesn't even rotate, guys, so far behind. You go back into this fight thinking, hey, I have the Sion helping, cool, but you don't. You don't. So, only go back in if you know, categorically, you can mechanically outplay everybody and you're that fed. You're just that fed. If we're Udyr here, do you really feel that fed? No. So don't do it. Push this wave up while they're fisting and fighting. Fall back, take all of this quickly. If you have other sequencing, you can do just sequence everything, vacuum everything on the map. Go back to base. Now this wave is going to be pushing in a little bit. Catch this wave, shove this up a little bit as well. You're going to see a fight happen here. You know, don't push beyond vision line. And you just keep doing that. There's a VOD. We talked about it in the coaching class, actually, in the private Discord. Apologies. Explicitly about this macro kind of pressure. But again, we could be here for hours talking about that. We're just not setting it up, though. And that's the most important thing, right? He's not looking for it. He's looking to teamfight too much with a build that's squishy, right? That isn't going to do the work. Like, look at this. 5 of them here. Push mid lane. Join Ezreal. Join me. Push mid lane, right? They're going to fall back and just go. Like, don't farm right now, right? You could easily push mid lane up. Push. Let this happen. I like that he's great. This is much better. Because you got to look at the fight and say, hey, I'm doing the calculations. Can we win the fight? Right? And now, don't results based in your mind. If you look at this now, you're like, oh shit, if I rotated, maybe we could have won. No. When you made the decision to not rotate, it looked doomed to you, so you made that decision. But now, while they're doing this, I'm inhibiting. You understand? I'm inhibiting, taking the inhibitor, blah, 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 blah. I feel like Chandler from Friends, you know. Blah, 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 blah. I'm taking the inhib, and then I'm falling back, taking all of this shit, all of this, pushing this up, falling back to this, because they're just busy here. Now, obviously, you probably don't have time to take everything here, so definitely get the dragon. at the very least, but like this is an inhib, right, with that pressure. Instead, he does his Raptors first, then he does a Dragon, the fight's over, now he's pushing mid lane, which means now, while Kha'Zix is still on the map, again, this is results-based if he gets a kill here, because you cannot at all assume that this is going to be happening. You also got the Herald pushing down here. So if this Herald is going to end up taking an inhib, then at least I've taken one back myself. Kind of important, because now you actually could have taken everything. And who knows? Maybe someone from the red team goes back to base to stop your push. Now we're in a bit of a rough spot, aren't we? Someone goes to stop your push, and your team maybe wins that fight, because they have numbers advantage now, because you split push there. So that, for me, right there is the moment. Even if you've had a rough game, you have kills, but it's just been like, ugh, I can't find my flow. That happens right there. Red into mid, into shove, into inhib while they're busy. Fall back, take stuff, take dragon, push bottom wave out, fall back to the red side or reset, whatever the hell you want to do. Catch the top wave, Rift Herald if you need to, but if your team can get it, then, you know, cool. 1200 in pocket, and now the whole team is ready to do stuff, but Kha'Zix is taking his blue side, so he is now out of whack from his team, which is not very good, because if there is a win, right, here for the blue team, it's because Kha'Zix is not with his team. And now Udyr's going team fighting against an Ahri, against a Braum, against an Ashe with the Sterex Gauge, Swifties, Trinity Force build. You know, you need to not be going that build against this comp. You're not going to be running at them and killing them. Just, you're not going to be able to do it, so don't. It shouldn't even enter your mind. Kha'Zix obviously does show up and die. Ezreal's really done nothing this game at all, as most Ezreals will do, so Aatrox is in control of his side lane, and that's why we don't want to take these fights. So as I said, that's for me is where the game was lost. A lot of like, he's not quite in position to do this macro, he's not quite in position to do that macro, he's overcommitting here, he's overcommitting there as Udyr, but right here, this shove breaks the game open. I know, because I had a guy, Platinum, we worked on this for a little bit in some coaching sessions, and see, now we can do it with CC immunity, and Emerald now, right? Like, just the macro and knowing when you actually want to fight and not fight, that's the good stuff. Kha'Zix shows top lane. We've got 3 people dead. If you can solo the Baron, obviously, I advise you to do it, but we're not Master Yi here, and Kha'Zix is available and alive. Basically, now it's the same thing. Ahri has no flash, so could we make an engage here? Sure, but we don't have an Ezreal. Now they're just coin flipping. There's just no real sense of split push or macro pressure from anybody, except for the Aatrox, and because he's doing it, he's the guy with 200 CS, right? We're just waiting to coin flip a fight. I don't want to be fighting. I want to be pushing this right now. You know, I want this to be dead. I'm pushing over here, and I can kill anybody myself. Like, you want to be 17, 18, 16, highest level in the game, highest CS in the game with this build. So that they have to send 2 people to deal with you. And even then, it might not be enough. That's the kind of stuff you want with this build. Unless you have a team that is great at making picks, right? Because that's what he's good at as well. But an AoE team fight against 1,000 slows, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Aatrox is leveraging a split push a little bit here. Now we're face checking. Kha'Zix goes all in onto this Ezreal, which again is a good play. Purely because the guy's out of position. All ADCs always are. Braum hits a Q, hits the R, we hit the Ashe R on top of that. When it chases down here, the Miasma goes through, plus the R and stuns us in position. Again, this is the... that's the game, I think. Like, Sion basically has to match or join that fight. Ezreal is obviously to blame, but again, it's not the Udyr's fault, but if I'm the Udyr, I'm not even there in the first place. I'm like, if you guys want Baron, that's fine, because I've already taken 1 inhib, I'll take a second. This Aatrox, I can beat him. If the Aatrox is 17, 3-4 levels above you, then we've missed a lot of farm on the map. And I'm not talking about the Sion, I'm talking about the Udyr, right? Because that farm is on the map. So, there you go. Looks like a straight steamroll from that point on. Keep trying to fight a Braum Ahri Ashe comp, you know, with Kha'Zix right there. It's just not going to happen, man. It's just not going to happen. You're just too squishy with this build. Unlucky. Because, you know, it looked like it might be good for Udyr in the beginning from those kills. Then it looked like it might be good for Kha'Zix from his kind of, you know, existing. And then the Udyr just missed all... Just... wasn't involved with the living organism of the map. I think that's the best way to put it. But overall, as always, another perspective, another game, different champions, different comps, different assessments. For more depth and one-on-one time, or just having courses that break down all of this really, really slowly and digestibly. Virkayu GG has everything. And if you are playing this Udyr build, please, for the love of Odin, leverage macro. Thank you very much. See you in the next one.